Hello and welcome back. Markets absolutely flat as we are speaking in. Let's get in a perspective on crude now. Vandana Hari is now joining us on the phone line. Needs no introduction. Ma'am, if you could just tell us what is your perspective on the crude. Had crude become a sort of consensus sell, and that is the reason why it is completely surprising everyone?
Good afternoon, Pankaj, and thanks for having me on your show. It's days like these that makes one wonder if one truly, really understands every single factor that is influencing the oil markets. Look, the reason I'm saying that is we've already seen crudes jumped nearly 50%. Over the past 3 months, less than 3 months. It's basically over November, December, and January to date. Now, while a lot of that was understandable on account of, the vaccine optimism, the rollout of vaccines, and then last week, the surprise and sizable 1 million barrel per day production voluntary cut announced by Saudi Arabia, the continued strength that we are seeing. I would have thought that the Saudi cut was more or less factored in last week's rally, but we're seeing, there was a bit of a pause on Monday, and yesterday we saw crude run up by about nearly 2% and another 1% today. It really makes you wonder because there are no obvious fundamental triggers that I can see. Yes, the U.S. dollar is an influence. The U.S. dollar, after nearly 4 or 5 days of strengthening, weakened yesterday. So that definitely buoyed crude. But, if I'm to be honest, I would say there's really no obvious trigger. So what that means is that, yes, there are supportive factors in the market, weaker dollar, Saudi cut, vaccine rollout, but there are also negative factors in the market. That the pandemic grip is still pretty bad. So what I would suggest is that, just kind of, I think, wait to see how this, once the dust settles down, perhaps next week or two, we might get a better direction for crude, at least as far as Q1 is concerned.
Right. Also, in a sense, crude tells us about the underlying economic recovery. More the recovery, higher will be the demand. That's generally been the trend.
Without doubt. So, when market watchers or market participants are looking to set their expectations for 21, they are definitely looking at optimistic economic growth projections. And, you tend to look at the likes of World Bank and IMF, and all of them, as of their last expectations towards the end of last year, and I think they're probably going to be more optimistic than that now. All of them are calling for a rebound in global economy and particularly strong rebound in Asia. So if you look at IMF projections, for instance, last October, it's expecting more than 8% growth in countries, especially like China and India. So the other facet of this as well is that Asia in general, even without a quick rollout of vaccines like in the Western world, in general Asia has learned to live with the pandemic much better. And when you're looking at the oil markets, for that matter, commodity markets broadly, even metals, you look at what Asian demand is doing. So, in that sense, for the oil markets, the worries with regard to the continued resurgence of the pandemic in the West are not that big because they're looking at countries like China and India, which are on a very steady recovery path.